Hello and welcome back. I'm Dark Nymph and I'm here with your dose of encouragement for your daily battle of the bulge and the war on obesity. I want to say thank you for stopping by and checking out my newest video. I've been trying to publish one every 2 to 3 days. I hope that they are helpful, and I hope that over time we'll have even more and more people that can be impacted by them. Now, I've been told that I should encourage everybody to make sure you hit the like button, make sure you subscribe, feel free to leave comments, and I'd love for you to share it with your friends. So if you have people that might be encouraged or might be willing to help spread the word, then feel free, share it with anybody you want, because that's what it's all about. Today, I want to talk about the breakdown of calories. I titled this one Calorie Comprehension. Now, for all of you that have been battling for years like me, obviously you probably have learned a lot. I had a friend ask me recently, he's like, well, haven't you talked to a dietitian? Have them give you a meal plan? And I'm like, I'm pretty sure I probably know as much or more about the breakdown of food than most dietitians, because it's been a focus of my life for so many years, and many of you may feel that way too. However, if you're new to this, I want to be healthier, if you're new to the I'm going to start counting calories, then this topic is probably going to be helpful for you. Hopefully, if you already feel like you know everything, you can find something that is a little bit different or a little helpful to help benefit you as well. So when you talk about calories, there are 3 different types of calories. There are fats, there are carbohydrates, and there are proteins. So that is what all foods are made up of. Now, I'm sure that some people could debate that with me and they would be like, well, there's this and there's that, which is not technically, but when you're counting calories, there's 3 basic types, and that's the carbohydrates, the fats, and the proteins. So the important thing to remember about those things is that both your carbohydrates and your proteins only have 4 calories per gram, and your fats will have 9 calories per gram, which is why when you start cutting your calories, reducing your calories, you're going to start limiting the amount of fat you intake, which is why when people talk about, okay, you need to have lean protein, they are talking about pork or chicken or tofu. I mean, there's a lot of non-meat products nowadays that are protein as well, versus bacon. The ones that, sometimes taste better. Even beef, some beef is very high in fat content. So you have to be careful when you're buying beef as well to make sure that you're buying a leaner grade so that you are getting less calories if that's what you want to include in your meal. So I'm going to talk about this in my blogs over like 3 different days. So I'm going to kind of try to squish it all into one video so it doesn't get too tedious. But there are some people that talk about when you are counting calories. They talk about free foods, which, free is always good, right? And so what they talk about are foods that you can have supposedly as much as you want without impacting your diet. Now, most of these free foods are very low in calories. A lot of them are like vegetables that don't have very many calories on their own. Personally, I count the calories. Even if I have, a big salad with just lettuce and tomato, I'm going to count the lettuce. I'm going to count, if I add cucumbers. Some people say, like celery. You can eat celery, and it actually takes more calories to digest the celery than you actually are eating. So in that case, maybe it is a free, but however, I'm very specific when I count my calories. I am counting every calorie that I take in. I mean, if I have a piece of sugar-free gum, I'm going to add it to my list just because I want to make sure that I'm not forgetting to add calories. Now, that's the way I do it. You have to decide what works for you. You may need the free list. You may need foods that you can have when you get hungry, because if you're brand new, then you have to find what works for you. So I'm just telling you about it so that you can decide how you want to do it and what works for you. Some people do where they don't count calories, they count carbs. There was a huge diet revolution, that's what they called it, I think, a huge diet revolution back in the early 90s, which was Atkins. I'm sure most people have heard of at least about it, where you do the high protein, low carb, and by doing so you can lose weight. And it's very true. You can lose weight by doing the Atkins. The problem with Atkins, at least for me, is it wasn't something I could maintain. It wasn't something I could use for a life change. I couldn't change my whole life and eat just meat and protein and stay completely away from the carbs and stuff like that. So now I'll admit I did the diet just like most of the world at the time. And yes, you can lose weight, but after a while it gets hard. And the biggest problem I found after you stop doing Atkins is the weight comes back really quickly. So it's not something you can say, okay, I'm going to do this and then I'm going to eat healthy and everything's going to be okay, because for me at least it didn't work that way. So it's one thing to consider for you. I know my brother incorporated part of that in his life for a while, but now he's very active, and so I don't know what he does now for food because he hasn't talked to me about it, but you know, he does what he has to do in order to be healthy and happy, and that's what matters. So that's what you're looking for. You're looking for what works for you. Now, I know for some people the thought of bacon and eggs for breakfast and steak for dinner is a no-brainer, and they're like, yep, sign me up, that's me. And maybe you want to try it. I'm not saying you can't. I'm just saying you need to be aware of everything. Now, I will tell you, I'm a big supporter of protein. I put a lot of focus on the protein I eat. I make sure that I get protein each day. I have my Greek yogurt, which is high in protein. I try to eat lean meats with my meals when I'm counting my calories. So I definitely suggest, you know, whether you're counting calories or whether you're cutting carbs, whatever, you want to make sure that you're getting adequate protein for your body, because you don't want your body to break down your lean muscle in order to get protein. And that's especially challenging, I know, for people that are vegetarian. But I know that if you're experienced at that, you can do what you need to do. Now, the other two parts of the food are the carbohydrates and the fats. Now, you can't cut all fat out because you do need some fat for a healthy body. So you'll want to research those so you can get healthy fats, like the fats that you find in like nuts, natural fats, things like that. Same thing with carbohydrates. They're all different. You have to understand, you know, this is a simple carbohydrate. This is a complex carbohydrate. This is fiber. And fiber is another thing that's very important. It can help you feel full when you are counting your calories. If you have a good amount of fiber, it makes your stomach feel like you've eaten more, which can help you eat less. But it's also very good for your dietary tract. So definitely you want to incorporate your fiber too. But the important part is to go out and understand everything there is to know about food and what you're going to be eating so that you can make smart choices for yourself. I hope this has helped. Remember, be sure to like, be sure to comment, be sure to share, be sure to subscribe. I will talk to all of you soon. This is Dark Nymph of the Daily Battle of the Bulge saying farewell and wishing you a victorious day.